This question involves shapes on a squared grid and transformations. Now again, my advice to you is always when it talks about transformations, describing fully and so forth, that you quickly write down what the 4 transformations are, so you can remind yourself you're going to choose one of these words. So rotation, reflection, enlargement and translation. So when it says describe fully, one of those words needs to be used and then its associated parts. So we look at the 2 triangles and we can see straight away that it's not a translation, because the 2 shapes will be pointing in exactly the same direction. So this bottom corner here will be pointing upwards like here. So that's not going to work. So a translation doesn't work for this one. A reflection, it's possible, but when we look at how that corner there's gone over there and that corner there's gone over there, they've gone in 2 different directions, so it's not going to be a reflection. Enlargement, it's very unusual for enlargements not to either be bigger or smaller, so enlargement can be ruled out very quickly. So it looks like it's going to be a rotation. So to get 1 mark for definite, we must write down the word rotation. We don't say turn or anything like that, we just use the proper words. So rotation gives us 1 mark. Now rotation requires 2 other things to identify it. It needs a centre and it needs a angle of turn. So it's asking us to go from A on to B. So we get our tracing paper and we trace over A, and then we ask ourselves, it's going to turn upside down, so it's going to be a 180-degree turn, and we can see that if we join the 2 top corners up, then the centre of rotation must be on this line somewhere, and it's going to be halfway, and if we look carefully we can see that halfway is there. So we just check it. So we get our tracing paper and we turn it around the centre point, and we find that it did go over the B. So we found where our centre is, and we found that it had to turn half a turn to work. So this is going to be a rotation of centre 0, 0, and it's going to be 180 degrees. Now sometimes you have to say clockwise or anti-clockwise if the angle's only 90 or something. Because it's half a turn, it doesn't matter which direction, so 180 degrees on its own is fine. Now for part B, it's asked us to do a translation of triangle A. Now we've got to remember that this top number in the translation vector tells us that we're going to go left if it's minus, or right if it's a positive. And the bottom number tells us that we go up if it's a positive, or down if it's a negative. So the 3 is positive, so it's telling us that the shape A is going to move 3 squares to the right. The 0 tells us that it's going to move nothing up or down. So basically we can take a tracing of the shape and we can move it 3 squares to the right, and we can see that our new shape has got to go there. Now we can quickly sketch it just to remind ourselves where it is, but then we should really go over with our ruler to make sure that it is accurate. We don't want to lose a mark from the examiners by an inaccurate drawing. And then we must do what they say. They said to label the shape C. So you must do that, because sometimes you might have more than one triangle on a picture, and if you don't label, they don't know which one you want to choose for being marked properly. So label your triangles correctly. So just to recap, the translation vector tells you to go top number left or right, bottom number up or down.